Okay. Can you all see the screen now? Is it visible? Can you all see the screen? Good morning, Chandrasekhar. How are you? Hello. Am I audible?
Fine, sir. Yes, sir.
So, can you all see the screen? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, economic survey is normally a document which is published by the government of India, especially it is designed by the economic advisor to the government of India. And this is a document which gives a state of economy for the last year. Like, for example, if the budget is presented for 2021, then economic survey is for 2019-20. So the economic survey of 2019-20 gives us an idea that how our economy was, what you can say, functioning in the last 1 year. Like, so that is why it's a very, very important thing, because maximum questions or most of the current affairs questions are asked from what you can say from the economic survey. How the questions are framed and how to study the economic survey that I am going to discuss with you today, because we know that economic survey is a very large and bulky document. So it is difficult to read each and everything from the economic survey of India. You have to read what you can say selectively for both prelims and mains, right? So can you all see the screen? Is it visible to all of you? So here we can see that for last 2-3 years, the government has what you can say the policy of publishing 2 volumes of the economic survey of India. So earlier there used to be only 1 volume of economic survey of India, but nowadays they are publishing 2, volume 1 and volume 2. So volume 1 is what you can say useful for mains exam and not for the prelims exam. So you don't need to read the volume 1 for prelims. You have to read volume 2 for the prelims, right? Is it clear? Why? Because you will see the indexes of the volume 1. We can see that. Can you all see the content of the volume 1? That is wealth creation, the invisible hand supported by the hand of trust. This is the what you can say the this is what you can say the finding which has been given by the government of India. Then entrepreneurship and wealth creation at grassroots. Then pro business versus pro crony capitalism. Undermining markets when the government intervention has hurts more than it helps. Like we know yesterday in our last live class, we discussed that how the government intervention hurts more than it helps. That is explained here. Like this is again, as we know that this economic survey of India is a document published by the government of India, and obviously the economic survey will always support the policies of the government, right? So the policies of the government of privatization, the privacy of the government to encourage more entrepreneurship at the grassroots level, the what you can say wealth creation, that is an invisible hand supported by the hand of trust, that is related to the businessman. So all this what you can say the contents of the volume 1, we can see that creating jobs and growth by specializing to export in network products, then targeting ease of doing business in India, then golden jubilee of bank nationalization, taking a stock that what has happened after the bank nationalization, that is explained here. Then financial fragility in the NBFC sector. We know that NBFC sector is facing a problem. So the financial fragility in the NBFC sector, privatization and wealth creation. How the privatization helps in wealth creation. Is India's GDP growth rate overstated? Because many economists have, we can say, has apprehension about the growth data, the growth what is the number given by the government. So here the question is that is India's GDP growth rate overstated? The answer is no, that is explained here. Then thalinomics, that economics of plate and food in India. Sorry, thalinomics. So yes, thalinomics is a term which was written last year. So all these what is the what you can say the content, or you can say all these what you can say the names of the chapters which is there in the volume 1. It is related to analysis of the economic development of the country in the last year. So these articles will be helpful for you in the mains exam, not in the prelims exam, because questions can be asked related to these particular topics in the mains exam, because we have seen that these topics are there in the mains. Got it? So this we will discuss. This we will read these all topics when we will be studying for the mains exam. Once you qualify the prelims and once you do the prelims exam, we will discuss all these topics, the mains exam topics. But today we will be going to the volume 2. Actually, volume 2 is the economic survey which gives the state of the economy. State of the economy means what? what is the inflation rate, what is the gross value addition, what is GDP, whether the investment rate is increasing or decreasing, whether the fiscal deficit is increasing or decreasing, whether the inflation rate is increasing or decreasing. So it gives us an understanding of the various aspects of the economic management that we have seen. Like here we can see that state of the economy, that is a macro view, macroeconomic indicators. Like, can anybody tell me what are the macroeconomic indicators? Like any economy have some macroeconomic indicators. Anyone can give me the examples of the macroeconomic indicators of economy? Like which are called as the macroeconomic indicators of the economy? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Gitanjali. Which are called as the macroeconomic indicators of the economy? Economics has two branches. One is called as microeconomics and another is called as macroeconomics. So macroeconomics means what? What is macroeconomics?
The macroeconomy is related to the agricultural produce. I guess the raw. I'm not done with economy, but I have read this concept, the macroeconomy,
You're guessing,
microeconomy.
you're doing your own what is understanding, right? Okay, anyways. So yes, Rupali, what is macroeconomic?
Concerning economy at the national level, and micro is we are concerning at the individual level.
Individual level. Okay, fine. So what we study in macroeconomics? Like in macroeconomics, we study the economy at a macro level, at the larger level, that is at the national level, or maybe at state level. Like sometimes, even if you are studying at the state level, that is also called as macroeconomic. But what we exactly study in the macroeconomic?
It's GDP, GNP.
Okay, GDP, GNP. Okay, only GDP, GNP.
No, sir.
Yes.
Employment and growth rate.
Yes, employment, growth rate, inflation, fiscal deficit, right? Investment rate, foreign
Yes,
direct investment, kitna aa raha hai? Then foreign exchange reserve of the country, right? What is foreign exchange reserve? What is the inflation rate? What is the employment growth rate? And what is the what you can say the GDP growth rate? What is the GDP? Right? All these things are what you can say studied at the macroeconomics. So state of the economy 2018-19, a macro view. So this chapter you have to read it for the prelims, right? So actually there are various what you can say the topics here. Actually this state of the economy, the first chapter is summary of all the remaining topics. Remaining topics means what? All the remaining topics. Like in the second topic we have a fiscal development. Fiscal development means what? The developments in the government budget. Like there are various terms in the government budget, that is whether India's tax revenue is increased or decreased, whether the direct tax is increased or decreased, whether the indirect tax is decreased or increased, whether the government's non-tax revenue is increased or decreased, how much government is receiving from the disinvestment, how much government is receiving from the penalties, how much government is borrowing, like how much is the borrowing, how much is the internal borrowing, how much is the external borrowing, then where the government is expending, like where the government expenditure is more in the what you can say the capital expenditure or revenue expenditure, and whatever we are expending the money, where we are spending that money, right? So when fiscal deficit is increasing or decreasing, whether we are what you can say the tax rate with the GDP is what you can say decreasing or decreasing, the tax revenue collection compared to the GDP is increasing or decreasing. So that's what is there in the fiscal development chapter. But what is there in the fiscal development? Fiscal development means the development in the fiscal scenario or the fiscal situation of the country. Second is about the external sector. External sector means whether the investment is coming from the external sector or not, whether the FDI is coming or not, whether the FI is coming or not. If there is an issue, how much FI is coming, how much FDI is coming, whether it is decreasing or increasing. That all you can see it in the external sector. Then monetary management, there is money supply, whether the repo rate is increasing or decreasing. And again, financial intermediation means whether the government is what you can say intervention in the financial market. Financial market means share market and all these things, right? So investment is coming or not, that is there in the monetary management and financial intermediation. Price and inflation, right? We know this is again one of the very important function of the government to control the prices and to control the inflation. So the situation of the economy in the last what you can say the year about the prices and inflation is given. Again, you see, although the economic survey gives us information, it is about the 1920 economic survey, but it doesn't mean that it has the data only related to 1920. It also has the data from the last 10 years. So there are certain charts, there are certain graphs, there are certain what you can see the what you can say diagrams which helps us in understanding the state of the Indian economy in the last 10 years, right? And again, it is compared with the other countries as well. Right, so it has been compared to the other countries, and that is what is explained here. So second is sustainable development and climate change. That again we know that we need to have a sustainable development and we need to also have a climate change. So what government is doing in respect to that is also here. Agricultural and food management, industry and infrastructure. Then services sector, how much government is, how much India is working in the services sector, that is also explained. And here the social infrastructure, employment and human development. So what government is doing in social infrastructure, employment and human development, it is there. But for the prelims exam, just this chapter is sufficient. Is the remaining topic like one first topic and second topic, that is sufficient. And ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा जहाँ तक आप कर सकते हो prices and inflation. The remaining topic, that is sustainable development and agricultural and food management, then industry and infrastructure, services sector, social infrastructure and employment. All these topics you have to read it for the mains exam, right? Because these topics are there in the mains, the social sector, then employment, human development, then services sector, industries and infrastructure, agricultural food management, the topic is there in the paper 3 of the general studies. That sustainable development is again in paper 3, topic is there. So you have to read these topics for the mains. But for the prelims, I think first topic, that is state of the economy in 2018-19 macro view, this much is sufficient. And how to study that, that will like how to study this first topic, that will explain, right? So I'm downloading this now. Can you all see the screen? Downloaded screen. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Whatever I have discussed till now about the economic survey. Any doubts? Okay, how many of you joined? Just Naveen, Manish, Zainab, Akshay, Muin. Okay. So any doubts, Zainab? Why I am asking you to read this particular chapter? Because when we see the previous year, what you can say the previous year questions, we'll see that the maximum questions in the prelims are from this particular chapter. That is the first chapter. The remaining topic you have to read it for the mains, and for the revision you have to read only the state of the Indian economy. So what is there in the state of the Indian economy? State of the Indian economy means what? What is the inflation rate? What is the fiscal development? And I can see what is the employment growth rate, what is the monetary policy, what is the GDP growth rate. All these things are given in the state of the economy. Fine. Can all see 35 pages are there. So today you have to read this chapter. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Hello? Check it. Now I will tell you what to study in this. Like you have to read this, the first introduction, the summary is given here. So you have to read this whole, what you can say, the introduction, because this introduction will help you, what you can say, understanding what is the current economic state, whether the GDP is increasing or decreasing, that is explained here. So you have to read these things. And then going to the graphs, like going to the graphs. So these graphs are very important. You have to go through these graphs, right? Because these graphs will help in understanding the decades as well as comparing with other countries, the state of the Indian economy. So here you can see the global growth of the global output. Global output means what is the global GDP and what is India, that is explained here. So world GDP is explained here, then AE, that is the EMDE, and ADA, that is explained. You just go through it. Here they have explained what is the advanced economics, EMD, emerging market and developing economies. So it means the world GDP growth rate. Here you can say that this is the GDP growth rate of the developed country, that is advanced economy means developed countries. Then this is about the developing countries, and this is what we can say the emerging and developing, like Asia. So obviously we can see here that the Asian countries growth rate is, what you can say, higher than the advanced economy. So that you need to know. So the growth rate of the emerging economies are more than the growth rate of the advanced economies, that you need to, what you can say. So can anybody tell me India comes in which category? Whether India comes in AE category, or India comes in EMD category, or India comes in EDA category? Here you can see these categories of the country. One is called as advanced economies. Then EMD means emerging market and developing economies. DE means emerging developing Asia. So India comes in which category out of these three categories?
Emerging and developing.
EMDE.
Third one, emerging and developing.
Third one, right? Emerging and developing economies. So here you can see this is the growth rate of the world, that is 3.6. That is the 2014-18 average, and 2019 is 2.9. So can you tell me why this 2014 to 18 average means from 2014 to 2018, this is the average, that is average growth rate is 3.6 and 2.9. So what does it mean? So the economic growth rate is increasing or decreasing? global economic growth rate?
Decreasing.
It is decreasing, right?
Decreasing.
So the dark brown is about the 2014-18 average, and the 2000, the yellow is about what you can say the 2019 estimate. So that you need to see, right? So you need to know how to read these graphs. You know, in paper 2 in CSAT there is one topic called data interpretation. So UPSC used to ask questions earlier. They give some graph and they ask you to interpret that graph. So questions are related to the interpretation of the graph that you can see. Right hand side there is one more graph here, growth of individual BRICS countries. So India is again one of the BRICS country. India is the one of the member country of this BRICS. So here they have given the comparison of the BRICS countries growth, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So India is red line. So you can see here. So Brazil is this one. So you can see from 2014 to 2019. Now why here? Because whenever UPSC asks a question, they say that we consider the following statement that India's GDP growth rate is more than other BRICS countries in last 5 years. So that can be asked. Like here you can check it out whether the India's growth rate is more or less. Right? You can see that here the GDP growth rate of the Brazil, here you can see that it was 0.1. It has went into minus. Then again it you can see it here, right? So here you can see out of the BRICS countries, the India's GDP growth rate remained highest till 2000. What you can say till 2019. In 2019, it fall below what you can say China. Here you can see that 2014-15, so India's economic growth rate till 2014-18, it was higher than the China, but again it fall down than China. Here you can see that, right? Are you understanding how to read this what you can say the graph?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is the what you can say the graph. Right. Now you can go to the next graph. It's better to what you can see go only through the graphs. Here you can see the consumer price inflation across the country. So here you can see the CPI indexes. So from 2014 to 2019. So can you see the CPI index was 6 in 2014. Now it has fallen down. Like India's what you can see the consumer what you can say India CPI, but it has decreased a lot. Like it has been up to what you can say 3%. Right? That we have already discussed. That is the we have already discussed about it. It is called as a benign inflation, right? Do you remember? Can you see this? The inflation rate. So what will be the statement like?
Yes, sir.
The CPI index in last 5 decades has fallen consistently. But again, this is a different thing. During this COVID-19 situation and pandemic, again it has come to 6.1 something, because the last CPI data which was released just few days back, it is around 8 days back, we have seen that the CPI index has again what you can say reached the target of 6%. Am I right? समझ में आ रहा है ये डेटा इसको कैसे रेड करना है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? If you have any doubts while I'm explaining, whatever I'm explaining this to you, just you can ask, right? So this is this data you have to see, right? Here again see world average. Maybe UPSC may ask you India's CPI was what you can say was lower than the world CPI. Correct or wrong? In the last 5 decades or in the last 5 years. You can see the world CPI was lower than India, while India is having what you can say high. But again, you can see that again India's the CPI has met with the world CPI also in 2018. Right? ये decrease होते होते हुए 2018 में वो कम होता चला गया. Again अभी world जो inflation rate है उससे वो बढ़ता जा रहा है. Can you get? Check. Going down. Growth of fixed investment. So what is the growth of the fixed investment in India? That is explained here. Whether the growth of fixed investment is increasing or decreasing. Growth index of manufacturing production. So manufacturing production is increasing or decreasing. Here 2 graphs are there, right? So the dotted line is of the G7 countries, while the red line is of the OECD. So G7 is India part of G7 countries? Hello.
No,
Hello. हाँ वालेकुम अस्सलाम.